Hello everyone, welcome to another useful React components. In this tutorial, we'll talk about laziness. If you're lazy and you don't want to follow all of the tutorials that we talked in 5 sessions ago, you can use the following floating fields with React Hook form. I combined 3 packages together and make it very simple to add the fields to the view and ready to go. So you just plug it in, npm install this package, and it will bring up everything for you. Just let me know if you find any issues or if you need another feature on it. I will definitely do that because this is my first package and I will support it 100%. So let's see how it works. Okay, here's the final product that you can build with this package, floating fields. So you can add any kind of fields, including input fields like this, a date picker field, simple select, multiple options, or some more advanced select. So each of them, I can just click on them, like this first name, I can just input it, nothing very special. It just has a floating field. As you can see, this placeholder turns into a label when you input it, and it's for all of the fields. And for date picker, you can select the date and any date that you would like, and it also has a floating label. It has a simple select, and you can see you can select an option here, and it has a more advanced select that you can type the stuff here, and also you can have multiple options here, so you can have both of them. You can either type it again or you can select it by mouse. And also we have some check fields like buttons, radio buttons. And as soon as you have everything selected, you can submit the form, and as you can see here we have some console log that it adds all of them. It binds everything together and it gives you all of the fields that you need. So you can specify which one is required. For this tutorial, I just made everything required. So as soon as you remove all of the input, it will give you the error message that you give it to the package. So you can just define this any error message that you would like, and it will not submit the form until you resolve this issue. And that's all for the demo. Okay, now let's see how we can use this package. Imagine that you have an existing React application. You can just create some Hello World application, creating app like create React app package. And as you can see, the structure of the create React app is very simple. I just created a test one. It has some folder, and the most important one is the SRC folder. And I didn't change anything in the structure. I just added the components folder, and my components are inside of it. We will go through it, but the rest of it is the same. It has index, app, and we have some components inside. Let's see, I added some stuff inside of the index and some stuff inside of the app. Let's see what I added. In the index file, all I did was just adding the app. I think it already has this app before, so you can just use it as is. But inside of the app, I added a component called homepage. So it's very simple. Just call this component inside of my app. And where is this homepage exists? So it says it's components homepage. It's inside of the components folder. And if I open it, it's right here, the homepage. So now let's go to the homepage and see what we have. Inside of the homepage, we have a component called form, and this form has only one prop. This is when we submit the form. So it's kind of like the handler or whatever we want to do with this data that we receive from the from the form, so we can handle it right here. So it's kind of like the callback function when the form gets submitted. So now then the rest of the important stuff, we will add it inside of the form. So let's talk about the form. And our form is right here, parallel to the homepage, but it could be anywhere. But just for the sake of simplicity, I added next to the homepage. Let's go to the form and see what we have here. For the beginning, I didn't add anything in this form. It's just a simple React component that has only one div. But let's add our first stuff and see what we can do. The first thing that we need to do is just adding the HOC that is coming with this package. So I will wrap my component with this with form. So when you install this package on your npm, with npm, it's called, you can just install it with npm install this package until here, floating fields with React hook form, and it will install it on your package JSON. It's right here. Make sure that you get the latest version. Floating fields with React hook form. So you have to install it npm install and then this full big name. And then once you install it, you can put the /dist and get with form out of this package. What does it come with it? It basically binds all of the data that you need for your React hook form. And then let's add the first field that we want to add to the view. So the first field that we're gonna add is floating input field. So I can just add it right here. And since I'll talk about these properties here, but I just added the floating input field, which is coming with this package. So you can just use it, and it adds, or it requires some props that some of them are optional, some of them are not optional. But the things that you can check and see which properties are available for this form, you can just control click or go to the package, and you will see it comes with some of the props that you can go ahead and watch which one is doing what, and based on your requirements modify them. But for our demo, we just modify some of them. For example, we say if we want to say this field is required, we just pass required. This field has a label, and if we want to show the label, we will show the label or add this as a floating label. That's how we had the demo that you saw, that it shows the label, and then when you click on it, it turns oh yeah, it was first placeholder, and when you click on it, it becomes a label in a cool animation. And then form control props, this is the part that you have to pass this register, and this register is coming with the with form. So you just have to pass this register, and this is the field name. So whatever name that you want to call this field, you just pass it here. And this is how React hook form will recognize your field. And if you have any validations rule, you will add it inside of this curly brace. And these are all rules coming from React hook form. So if you are not familiar with React hook form, you can just go watch the documentation and what you can pass here. For here, I just passed that this field is required, and if there is any error, show this error message. And this field can max have 80 characters. So these are the two rules that I added for this field. And then you can just pass the error message as I mentioned, but you make sure that whatever name that you use here, you use it. You use the same name here. So you pass the same register and the error here. And that's all for the simple floating input field. Let's see how it works. Okay, as you can see, our field just showed up here, and if you submit, it validates and it see that it doesn't have any value. That's why it gave the error. But if I type something and try to submit, as you can see, this is the handler that we talked right inside of the homepage. It comes and call this function handle submit, and it console log the data that we receive. That's all for the input field. The next field that we'll learn is date picker field. So it's exactly like floating input field, so you don't import anything else, but instead of type here, that we didn't pass here, we type date, and it will recognize as a date, and it will come with a date picker. And I have some required fields, so this field is also required, and the name of this field is date of birth. The label for it is date of birth, that you can see, and we have some error message that is the same as the other one. And let's see how it works. So see, I have to refresh the page so it doesn't validate anything, but it comes with the date picker. So if I click here, it shows the date picker, and I can select the date, but it cannot submit because it has some error. As soon as I remove the error, if I submit, it will get the data out of my date field. That was for the date picker. Let me close this so it doesn't this one. Yeah. So the next field that we're gonna learn is you'll see that is the simple select form. So select form is, let's see it here. It's floating select field. It's different from floating input field, and it's a very simple select field. Again, the properties are basically the same. It's a required field, it has a label, and the only difference here is selected options. So I added some options here, so you can pass any options here. I just passed some hard-coded values, some country code, and then I added some validation rules, and I passed the register that we had for other fields. And basically this register registers all of the fields for React hook form, and some error messages. So let's see how it works. See, as soon as it re-renders, it gave the select form, and it's very simple. You can select one at a time, and as soon as I input, since this one has a value, it is green, but the rest of them are not because they don't have value. But as soon as I input value, now you have 3 of them has some value. The next field that we're gonna learn is the actual select field, and you can select multiple fields here. So let me go to this field. So here, this one has more stuff into it because you can add more options. If I go to the properties of this field, you'll see it has more properties, and we just use some of them here for the purpose of simplicity of the tutorial. For example, the first option is multi-select. For example, you can select if this select field can select more than one option, and that's the property that we are passing. There are 2 props that we are passing just as it is. These 2 props are coming from the with form that we have here as a props. So I added these props, control and controller, so you can get it from props, and how these props getting these, and they're coming all from the with form that we have here. So you pass these 2, and these are the controller for React Select. If you know that package, that React Select requires these 2. And you have some label in order to show the select. If you require some label, it is first the placeholder, and then it becomes a label. And like other fields, it comes with a name. So each field should have a name. So this one also has a name, and it should be matched with the one that it's registered here. So as you can see, all 3 names are matched here. And of course, your select has some options, and the options are different from the array that we had from simple options. This one, it is also an array, but each value cannot be some simple string. So these are different. Each option is basically an object, and it comes with a label and value. So whenever you select any of them, it shows the label, but it passes the value, and you can see it in action. So this is the multiple option, and this is the label that you selected for it. And let me refresh the page so you can see. Yeah, So these are the two options, red and blue. As you can see, these are the red, blue, and red options that we pass. And when I select any options, for example, I added red, so I can just select any other options for other fields, so it doesn't give me validation error. And when I submit it, it is coming with the red. And it also has a very nice validation, which React Select is not very friendly to do that. But this package comes with validation, and it shows you the validation. As soon as you add some value, the error will go away and you can submit it again. And that's all for this tutorial. I think it's very simple, straightforward. Add some styling, but you can add any styling to the field that you have. I'll post this tutorial on the package. So these are the simple styling that we used, but nothing special. The main part is in the form that we learned how to add these fields.